Noble Order. I'm Hindol Sengupta. Today joining me is Javed Beigh, who made an extremely important intervention about Gilgit Baltistan in the UN General Assembly only a few days ago. This is one of the first times that India has made an intervention through its civil society, actors on the issue of Gilgit Baltistan and about Pakistani oppression there. Javed is here to talk about all that and more. Javed, welcome.
Thank you so much, Indol, and thank you for inviting me on your show.
A little bit about what you said about Gilgit Baltistan as a Kashmiri, Javed. Let talk to us a little bit about what you presented about the conditions in Pakistan occupied Gilgit Baltistan, which you see from your perspective as a Kashmiri.
Well, as a Kashmiri or as an Indian Muslim, I and most of us, the people who know about the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir, which includes Gilgit and Baltistan parts, which also includes POJK, like Muzaffarabad, Mirpur, and other districts. They are illegally held by Pakistan. Let me give the historical perspective of the erstwhile state of J&K. In 1947, my ancestors, the Maharaja of the princely state of Jammu and Kashmir, chose to go with the idea of India. My people, they chose to be with the idea of India, despite being a Muslim majority princely state, which I and most of the Kashmiris feel proud of. And our ancestors, they signed an instrument of accession with the Union of India, which again includes Gilgit Baltistan and POJK. But as most of us are well aware, that Pakistan, despite people of Jammu and Kashmir chose to be with the India, they illegally occupied these parts, Gilgit, Baltistan, POJK, and continue to do so. For last 1.5 years, we have witnessed massive protests in POGB, Pakistan occupied Gilgit Baltistan. Those protests erupted on a range of issues, including for the rights they have been fighting for last 76 years. But very unfortunate, the massive protests were crushed, with the barrel of gun. The Pakistani regime used brutal force there. They tried to crush it, but it is still there. The protesters are still there. Even the people in Gilgit and Baltistan, they marched towards the Kargil region of Ladakh. They wanted to come back to India. This is on record. Many people were killed, thousands of people injured, thousands of people framed in fake FIRs. Many prominent personalities like Aga Bakir al-Husseini, he was also arrested, charged with some blasphemy, acts and anti-national acts. A lot of people. Shabir Mayar is a political activist. He was also arrested, and a lot of people are still languishing in jails. Similarly, POJK. See, these are two different territories. POGB is a different territory. That is also part of Jammu and Kashmir. POJK is a different territory. Again, part of Jammu and Kashmir. So this year only, massive protests erupted there. On the face of it, the protesters were against the exploitation of their resources, especially electricity. The electricity is generated in a dam called Mangla Dam. And when that Mangla Dam was constructed, more than 1 million Kashmiri people were rendered homeless. More than 1 million people, and they were, promised they will be given jobs, etc. Some of them were, in fact, given jobs. They were taken to United Kingdom, but most of the people are unemployed. So when these protesters erupted, the puppet government in POJK, which they called so-called Azad Kashmir, which is not at all Azad, the quantum of protesters was such that Pakistan had to send their rangers to crush it. And very unfortunate, they killed 18 people, which is official. Unofficially, you have no idea because international media was not allowed there. No internet for last so many months. Lot of people injured, maybe in thousands. People arrested in thousands. One very prominent journalist and poet, Ahmad Farhad, he was kidnapped. Even his family said they had no idea for weeks together. So we raised these issues at international platforms. Very fortunate that I got a chance to raise this issue in United Nations, and I was able to convince world community what Pakistani regime, the deep state, has been doing in these two parts of our country. See, these parts, they belong to Jammu and Kashmir. They belong to India because this is on papers. We are not talking about some country's territory. This is our territory. They are our people. They have been fighting for their rights. Their rights been snatched, and the Pakistani Punjabi dominance, that they have been fighting against. So I think, Hindol, we as Indians, 1.4 billion Indians, we are duty bound to raise their voice, to raise this issue at every international platform, at every international forum, and we have to create awareness, educate people about these two territories. And let me tell you, very interesting, POGB is one of the most strategic, most important areas in Asia. If you have access to Gilgit and Baltistan, that means you have direct access to the resource-rich Central Asian countries. You have Central Asian countries, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan. They are very rich in oil, gas, and other minerals. If India has to become $10 trillion economy, India has to have the access to all these countries. Very, they're very close to India, both bilaterally and geographically. All we have to do is, and this is possible, we have to reclaim our territories, and Pakistan and China will be cut off from, they won't have land access to each other. And this is our area. This is on papers. It is in the United Nations, and people there, they want to become part of India. I meet a lot of people from POGB. I interact with them, the intellectual class, the diaspora. They, they are looking forward to the idea of India. They want to become part of India. Very unfortunate, in 47, due to some conspiracies, we couldn't get access to that territory. But yes, there somewhere we have to reclaim this territory. They are our people. We cannot see them living a miserable life.
I
Right.
want to ask you, Javed, as an educated Indian Kashmiri Muslim and as a civil society activist, when you look at why all these years we were not able to make the kind of intervention that you have now made. Why do you think we couldn't do this all these years? And why do you think finally you were able to make it?
Hindol, yes, this is again very unfortunate. The Pakistani propaganda machinery been very active on international platforms. They were able to mislead world communities along with their people. They have misled both people of Pakistan as well as world communities. And yes, this is true. Their narratives of propaganda, their peddling of lies had good takers, but situation has changed. Pakistan stands exposed at almost every international platform. Their sponsoring of terrorism, radicalism, extremism, being exposed now. Earlier, it was like Pakistan and some of its allies. They would always talk very bad against our country. But now I feel like during this session, it was Pakistan all alone, peddling lies, propagating the propaganda it has been propagating for last 3.5 decades. But now there are no takers. And earlier, mm, not many Kashmiris, I mean people of Jammu and Kashmir, were given opportunity to represent, the true sentiments of people of Jammu and Kashmir. But now, thankfully, people like me are getting opportunities. They are able to portray the actual and real situation of Jammu and Kashmir. I mean, Indian administered Jammu and Kashmir on international platforms, which is actually, need of the hour. When we compare our side of Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, with that side of Jammu and Kashmir, like Gilgit Baltistan, POJK, I will give you one simple example. The overall annual budget of POJK and POGB is even lesser than the budget we have for tourism department in Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh. This is the comparison. Kashmiri youth, they are representing Jammu and Kashmir as well as India at international platforms. And what Pakistan has done in POJK, they're still running, terror camps there, indoctrinating young boys into radicalism, extremism, sending them to Jammu and Kashmir to kill innocent civilians there. This is the difference. The young boys and girls in our part of Jammu and Kashmir are going to the top universities in the world, top research centers in the world. They are representing country at Olympics, at almost every international platform. On the other side, you see very young boys getting into drugs, using them as terrorists. This is the difference. So I think world has started realizing and understanding the role Pakistan has played, not only in our country, but in other neighboring countries like Afghanistan. You ask an Afghan about Pakistan, they hate them. They hate them. And you talk to any Baluch, they will narrate you what actually Pakistan is. So India, has every right to reclaim these territories, and India has to play that big brother's role in this region. We cannot uh, deny what Pakistan has been doing there. With our people, with the people living in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. I also raised a very serious issue, how religious and ethnic minorities are treated in Pakistan. You have seen, almost all of us are watching things on a regular basis, how Hindus are treated there, how Sikhs, how Christians, how Ahmadiyas are treated there. Sikh and Hindu, very young girls are forcibly converted, married off to elderly people, you know, from other religions in Pakistan. How Christians been lynched there, and how Shias are being treated. In Parachinar, which is on the border side, uh, even this year, Shias were persecuted during Muharram processions. More than 50 were killed and more than 2,000 injured. And this Pakistani regime, the establishment there, they don't care. So we have to play this role. We have to raise these issues at almost every international platform, make Pakistan accountable, and we have to educate world communities about, because very less percentage of people across world know about the plight of religious and ethnic minorities in Pakistan. Almost 0% people know about Gilgit and Baltistan, POJK. Not many people are well aware about these two territories of India, which are illegally held by Pakistan.
Talk to you about another subject, Javed, on which you have made a strategic and a very powerful intervention, I feel. There has been constant nefarious links to connect Kashmir with Palestine. Now, these two things have no connection. We as Indians know this. But this is a constant effort is being made in various what parts of the world, in various quarters. You have spoken powerfully about this. Talk to us a little bit about that. Why this comparison is so flawed.
Well, Hindol, there is no comparison between Palestine and Kashmir. There is no, I don't see. That's a different, altogether a different subject. And Jammu and Kashmir is a different. See, we people of Jammu and Kashmir, we are part of a bigger idea, which is the most sought after idea in the world, idea of India. Whole world has started looking up to this idea. I, as a reader, as a researcher, I have read when this idea was created, the idea of India. Many people, many states, many countries, many nations felt that this idea might fail. Yes, but see where we stand. Other ideas which were created on the basis of religion. You see, the failed idea of Pakistan. That idea was solely created on the basis of religion. But in 1971, that idea failed when people of Bangladesh fought for Azadi. That idea failed when people in Balochistan were killed, when Nawab Akbar Bukti was killed. That idea failed when people in Lal Masjid were killed. That idea fails every day. That idea was created in the name of religion. And this idea of India is the most beautiful idea in the world. Hindol, let me tell you, in ancient times when people in Arab were persecuted, people in Persia were persecuted, Zoroastrians, where did they go? They came to India. Parsis, they're still living and they are part of our society. You see, when people were persecuted in West Pakistan, where did they go? They also came to India. Most of them are living in Jammu and Kashmir. We have given them citizenship. Now they have been given rights after so many decades. People in Myanmar, and they are Muslims, when they were persecuted, they also came to India. See, anybody belonging to any religion, persecuted anywhere in the world, they come to India. This is the country we are living. When they compare Jammu and Kashmir with Palestine, I as a Kashmiri, I feel like why this comparison? I as a Kashmiri, I as an Indian Muslim, I'm able to raise my voice, the genuine voice, at every international platform. I, as a Kashmiri, uh, Honorable Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru Sahab, he was a Kashmiri, the first Prime Minister of Azad Hindustan. Mufti Muhammad Syed Sahab became Home Minister. We are 26 million Muslims living in India. And we have every right, yes, I say this with authority. Every Indian Muslim has access to every opportunity this country offers. Sky is the limit for Indian Muslims. But there is a different situation in Palestine, right? And this country is guided by the beautiful constitution, the largest constitution on earth. So there is no comparison. Anybody trying to compare Palestine with Jammu and Kashmir is actually trying to mislead world communities. Basically, Pakistan is trying to generate support from the Muslim world, which he has lost eventually. You see Malaysia not siding with Pakistan anymore, Turkey not siding with Pakistan. Saudi Arabia is a natural friend of India. Almost every Arab Muslim country is a friend of India, and we have good bilateral ties with them. You see, Central Asian countries, they
Funnily enough,
are
Javed, you mentioned Saudi Arabia. I'm reminded one of Saudi Arabia's recent complaint against Pakistan is that the number of beggars that are flooding Saudi Arabia, they all come from Pakistan. I was astonished that Pakistan is not only creating trouble with terrorists and other things, they are creating trouble in Saudi Arabia with beggars.
yes, Hindol. See, I travel to places, I meet people. In almost every Arab country, you see Indians dominating, be it software companies, production companies, factories, industries, be it services industry. We Indians are dominating there. You go to UAE, you find after every two Arabs you find an Indian there. People settle there, people being respected there. Very recently, uh, a temple was inaugurated in UAE, and that was not built by us, right? That was built by Arabs. This is the difference. You go to any Central Asian country, you find Indians there working, studying, with good relationship with them. You ask an Afghan, he will choose India over Pakistan, right? So this global cabal, which was earlier used against India, stands nowhere. Pakistan, stands exposed on their grave human rights violations across Pakistan on all minority groups, be it Balochs, Sindhis, Shias, Ahmadis, or any other religion minority, Hindu, Sikh, Christian. They have been mistreated there. Only one ethnicity is dominant in Pakistan, which is Punjabi ethnicity. Others are struggling, or they are not getting opportunities at all. But in India, it's a land of opportunities, a very diverse country. From Kashmir to Kanyakumari, you find people belonging to every religion, every ethnicity, every race. People speaking different language. Choice of food is different after every 50, 60 kilometers. So you tell me there is no comparison between Jammu Kashmir and Palestine. There is no comparison between India and Pakistan. No comparison at all. We are going to become Vishwaguru, not a Vishwaguru based on our weapons, Vishwaguru based on our respect worldwide, the honor, the dignity idea of India carries. That is where we are going to stand. And look at that country. almost every part is seeking azadi. Balochistan, they are fighting for freedom. Excuse me. People in POJK fighting for freedom. People in POGB. Let me, bring this issue here. People in POGB, they don't have any rights. They cannot even send their representative to the so-called Parliament of Pakistan. In today's world, how can you keep a huge area without representation, and that area being rented out to China? China illegally built CPEC there. That was an environmental disaster as well. Plus, not a single citizen of POGB got benefited from that CPEC. So we have to raise these issues everywhere, on every platform. Yes. And very very unfortunate, not many people in our country are aware about it.
Discuss one last thing with you, Javed, before we wrap up, where I found your intervention once again very useful and very insightful as a researcher, as a civil society activist. You mentioned the negative impact of Jamaat Islami, both in Bangladesh, in Pakistan, and of course in India, but especially in Pakistan and what recently happened in Bangladesh and what the Jamaat has been saying there. And you spoke from your perspective as an Indian Muslim on why this idea, and you connected it, of course, with Maududi's, theories, and why this has had a, negative impact on the history and the present contemporary moment in the Indian subcontinent.
Hindol, Jamaat Islami ideology is a failed ideology. Their way of establishing a state has failed everywhere. Even that ideology tried to create problems in Jammu and Kashmir, but ultimately failed. In 1987 elections, very unfortunate, Congress and JKNC rigged elections, in which Jamaat Islami was, also fighting election under the banner of MUF, Muslim United Front. That was an amalgam of many socio-religious, socio-political organizations. So after that, Jamaat Islami, along with other smaller groups, they took to militancy, which ultimately failed. Now in recently concluded assembly elections, Jamaat Islami also took part. Similarly, in Bangladesh, Jamaat been trying to penetrate for decades, and ultimately they got a chance. But now you see what is happening in Bangladesh. This ideology is intolerant. This is an exclusive ideology. But modern societies, they need an inclusive ideology. That's why the whole world is looking up to Idea of India. Idea of India stands the most tallest ideology across globe. The ideology based on any religion does not last long. When you try and govern a country, a state, a nation, with a religious ideology, you are bound to be doomed. You cannot float an ideology which is based on imagination. The ideology of Jamaat is based on imagination. Madudi's teachings were even rejected by his children. Professor Farida Khanum, daughter of renowned modern and secular Islamic scholar Maulana Wahiduddin Khan, she has written a book called, she has actually translated this book. This book is written by Maulana Wahiduddin Khan, Tabir Ki Galatiyan. One should read this book. She has mentioned about how Maududi's son was rejecting his ideology. Yes, this is something we have to understand. That ideology was rejected by people of Jammu and Kashmir. That ideology was even rejected by the Indian Muslims. That ideology will be rejected by the people of Bangladesh. Though there are attempts to reintroduce that ideology in Bangladesh, but ultimately that will fail. You cannot live in isolation in today's world. No country, no state can live in isolation. And you cannot think of creating an exclusive society. Every society has to be inclusive, accommodative, and cosmopolitan in nature. Otherwise, those societies are doomed. Like Afghanistan, what happened in Afghanistan? What happened in Iraq? What happened in Syria? ये तो अभी की बात है, तबाह हो गए वो. So we have to understand Jamaat's ideology won't last long. Yes.
Wonderful. Javed Beigh, thanks very much for taking off time from your schedule to explain so many things from your perspective so lucidly to our audience and to me. Congratulations once again as a civil society actor, as a researcher, for your very successful interventions at the United Nations, talking about, of course, India and, of course, Pakistan and Pakistan occupied Gilgit Baltistan and much more. Congratulations and thanks very much for your time in talking to us.
Thank you so much, Hindol. Thank you so much. Thank you.